In the United States of America, when a young person is born black and they reach a certain age, the parents have to have the talk with a young man, mostly young men, not women. And the talk is usually about the fact that you are black. And being black means this and that, means this is how you relate with government, your neighbors, in a country where most people are white and the people who are black are very few, and there is a history of the black people not getting it right or not getting the better end of the stick. There's always need for the talk. Well, I'm from Kenya, and here in Kenya, there's a talk also for many of us, and that talk depends on which side of the country you're born in. And the talk in Kenya goes something like, people from that tribe cannot marry people from our tribe. Or if you bring a girl from that certain tribe or from that side, there are a lot of euphemisms are used to cover the tribal aspect. But the bottom line is, the talk in Africa, the talk in Kenya, is that parents will often, in many families, talk to you about not marrying from certain groups and certain ethnicities. My name is Kimathi, and this is Let's Talk Love Kenya, where we discuss pertinent issues of family, love, and unity. And joining me today is one of Kenya's most notable public educators, a professor of the University of Nairobi, Professor Herman Manyora. The man himself is with me today, and he's going to be helping me demystify with you the issue of tribalism. Prof.
Yes.
Karibu to the show.
Sante.
Is tribalism still a big problem in the country, or is it a small problem, or is it a medium? Give it a size.
You know, from my experience, Kenyans don't have a problem of tribe.
No?
No.
Well, that's a shocker for me.
The problem comes in, of course, there are stereotypes. They're about Kikuyus loving money. If you want to know a Kikuyu's dead, throw a shilling down. Kambas being people who love this and the other, Luyas being this and the other. Those are stereotypes. Beyond those, Kenyans do not experience tribalism. They don't feel it. They don't live it. They don't think it. Then how is it a problem? It becomes a problem when there are things to be shared, especially political power. When leaders want to be elected, then they mobilize along tribal lines, ethnic mobilization, to the extent they can even engage in ethnic militarization. So you turn your community against, so that Kikuyus have been made to think Luos are animals, bad people. You know? So they are, Raila or Jaramogi's father have been turned into some demon. It's been planted. If children want to sleep, they are told, eat. If you don't want to eat, we shall bring Raila. You see, and that is done merely because those mobilizing to get power want to rope in the Kikuyu tribe. I have lived in villages outside my home place, and I've never seen Kikuyus and Luos and Luyas living anything other than living like Kenyans. My sister has a child called Mudoni because we lived with Kikuyus. My sister has a child called Mbudhia. And so, the normal average Kenyan has nothing against the next tribe. Beyond the stereotype, once they get to know what they have been told about other people, merely stereotype, they don't go beyond the surface. They interact very well.
Well, Prof, one of the issues that come up from what you're saying is, you know, Kenya, Prof, from the little history I studied in school,
yes,
the struggle for Kenya, the struggle for the republic and for the nation was done by tribes. And they were not together when they did it. These were separate tribes. The Nandis had their struggle. It lasted how long it lasted. The Kikuyus had their struggle as well, and everyone else had their own way of fighting for a nation. And now we have a nation that is made up of smaller nations. Yes, which had their own governments, which they had completely different and distinguishable systems of government, you know, where some even had kings. Some people had kings, some people didn't. And you're bringing them together and you're telling them, now you people are one people. How long does it take?
That doesn't create tribalism.
No?
No.
What does it make?
It just gives you identities, different identities. In terms of politics, the Mzungu came with a divide and rule. He divided our people.
Are you saying we were together before the Mzungu?
No, we were different nationalities. And we are not the only people who find ourselves in a country of different nationalities.
Many tribes, many countries.
Yeah, many nations in one country. So the challenge of nationhood is not a Kenyan problem. That is a different problem. That is a conversation about a political structure called Kenya. But in terms of tribalism, as you are putting it, so that I see you as a Kikuyu and I feel threatened. You know, sometimes I say Kenyans, we are not quite informed. There are places in this world where two people cannot be left in one room.
Because of the
kill
tribes?
each other. Because of religious differences, because of class differences, because of ethnic differences. A man from this tribe or this race or this religion cannot interact with another from another tribe. They will kill each other. We don't have this thing. Anytime a Luo meets a Luya, they don't. That thing is not there. But it will be created by leaders when they want positions and power. You get it? But even in terms of marriages, there are so many inter-tribal marriages in this country. You don't even know.
That's why I was coming. Because you said there are places in the world where two people who are different tribes cannot stay together. Yes. So in Kenya, the argument from a lot of social scientists is that if there is enough intermarriage in the country, I don't know how long it's going to take for that, if there is enough intermarriage in the country, the tribal tensions we notice even in when it comes to political issues, they will, diffuse. That's the argument. That if you get married to a Luo person as a Kikuyu, then those things will end.
But you know the reason why I started this channel was precisely because I couldn't understand how educated people could get into problem because they are coming from different groups during this election period.
But they are not educated.
People close to me, I couldn't believe it.
They were fighting?
They were fighting. Some have separated.
Something you can tell us about?
I'm trying to bring some couple together. Because one was Kalenjin, another one was the other. Another was Kisi, another one was this.
And they were legally married?
In 2007, what are you talking about? Not just legal married, but educated men and women. In 2007, we had tragic instances of Kikuyus and Kalenjin. Your wife is Kikuyu, but the Kalenjin are harassing the Kikuyu, and your wife is not spared. So what I'm saying is, we need to get our politics right. Once you get your politics right, the rest is not a problem.
Even family.
So at the social level, a Kikuyu has no problem with a Luo, at the social level. And that's why there are so many Luo women married in Kikuyu land, and there's so many Kikuyus married in Luya land. At the social level, there's no problem.
But how many is many? How many of Kikuyus, you say if there are so many how many is many really?
How many?
If you go to the depths of it, how many Kikuyus have intermarried with Luos?
There are many.
Maybe say relatively in comparison.
Many. I cannot have a number, but there are many. Look here. You are young. Next weekend will be the wedding weekend, I think. Sindio?
Yeah.
You look for some little money for Uber. Move from church to church. Do like 20 churches. Because there will be so many weddings on Saturday next week. Is that right? This week. Move. Just move and check. See. You'll be told this is a Luo marrying a Kikuyu. This is a Kalenjin marrying a Luya. You'll be surprised. They are happening. Almost a bigger portion of marriages taking place in Nairobi today are intertribal, inter-ethnic marriages.
Is it?
So at the social level, I can assure you, after people have been fighting, blah, blah, post-election violence, 2007, 2008, 2017, when things settle in Kibra, this door is a Kikuyu, next one is a Luo, a Luya, Kisi. They're just together. Those artificial differences are created, one, by stereotyping, which is easier to deal with. Once you live with people, you see this is a joke. The other one by political leaders who want to elicit the tribe in their pursuit of power.
Right.
But Kenyans have the tribalism. Because I'm telling you, there are places in this world, some not even far from us here. There's no point in mentioning because some have had tragic consequences of the conflicts where hundreds of thousands of people have died. Where two people from two different ethnic groups cannot share a room. cannot enter the same bus. We don't have that here. Here there is harmony at the social level in terms of tribe, but chaos is created when leaders want to use tribe to ascend to power. So love between families cannot be compromised merely by tribe. But it can, in times of, for example, political conflicts, then find it safe in the family. The sort of things people will be saying about Luos during the campaign period. People around you, because you are a Luo girl married in a Kikuyu family. The political season comes and people are saying all manner of things about Luos, and you are there. That can affect your family, your husband, despite the amount of love you have for each other. That's where the challenge is. But under normal circumstances, no.
Let me ask you this, Prof. Now, because you're saying we have a lot of these tribes in Kenya coming together, we have marriages, but would we need to urbanize the entire country, matter of fact, the whole continent, for us to finally be able to say that these people who are initially independent tribes on the savannah are finally coming together in family? Well, we need to urbanize the whole situation, because if you look at it, I was born in a village, and where I'm from in the village, unless you live in the way of education or in the way of going to the city, the mentality that Luos are this, Raila Odinga is this, that stereotype is still very strongly rooted in the villages where children are raised by people with very limited educational background. Are you saying we need now to urbanize the whole country before we can finally say, even in politics, there's no tribalism?
Two things. One, in the village where I live, there are Kikuyu girls married there.
All right.
In the village where I live, there are Kambas married there. In the village where I live, where I grew up. But urbanizing is not something we have to say we shall have to do. Africa is quickly urbanizing, and experts will tell you in 30 years or so, most of these rural parts of the country will have become urbanized. So it's a natural development. We don't need to do it. It's just going already. Granted, there are more inter-tribal marriages within the urban setup than within the rural setup, but it's not exclusive to the urban areas.
All right. And
it's love that drives two people to get together. And what I can say, and what I'm trying to put across here is, when two young Kenyans love each other, whether they are Luo and Kikuyu, tribalism in this country is not strong enough to stop them from marrying. There are countries and places where you can't even think about it. But here, so long as two people love each other, there may be stereotypes. I've seen my people saying, I will not allow my son to marry a Kikuyu because I want my son to show me a grave of a Kikuyu woman here. They always go. Those things are still there. Stereotypes are still there. But they are not strong enough to prevent Wanjiro getting married to Otieno.
are they strong enough to bring problems once Wanjiro and Otieno are married?
Not really. And I'm saying the challenges we have had, which has been evident and we've seen it, is during a political season when there are like clashes. Then you get to realize my wife is Kikuyu and I'm Kalenjin. That's the time. You may realize in a tragic way. I know people I grew up with in Rift Valley who have gone through things, have children who have been traumatized. You get it? But under normal circumstances, so long as a boy loves a girl, a man loves a woman, tribalism in this country is not strong enough to stop them from marrying. There may be stereotypes. Parents may have the idea of what a Kikuyu is, and therefore they may not want their son to marry a Kikuyu daughter. But that is not strong enough, as it is in other places in the world. So we would encourage young people, marry who you want to marry, so long as what is bringing you together is love. So if you are a Luo and you are dark, don't marry a Kikuyu because she's minji. Marry her because you love her. And let your parents understand you are bringing this Kikuyu woman not as a Kikuyu but as somebody you love. That's what matters. But we need also to inform our children that there are certain realities in life. You look at your parents and ask yourself, can they stand this? Can they understand it? There are certain parents at the level where they are. There are certain things you may be putting too much in their way. I gave an example of when somebody says, if I die, I'm not going to be buried. Cremation. And I say, fine, you may be more than enough to want to be cremated. But what are you subjecting your parents to?
And the rest of the family, everyone.
Yeah, what are you subjecting them to? So let us not be over modern. Because it is not just about me. It's also about my children. It's not just about my children. It's about us, those who love you. How can they stand you burning in fire? Because you think you are modern. And therefore, even when you are marrying a woman because you love her, you have to take into consideration what your parents think at that time. And whether you need to prepare them to accept a girl from a certain tribe. Maybe you need to prepare them. Daddy, unajua watu wasemanga hivi. You know those kind of things. You prepare them enough. You bring even their friends to talk to them. Then they realize, kumbe these things we think about Kikuyus are wrong. Kumbe Luos are just human beings. Yeah, I agree there are stereotypes, but the bigger problem is when politicians mobilize their tribes. And the people in marriages, cross-tribal marriages, are caught in the crossfire. Those are challenges you must deal with sometimes.
Right there, you've heard it. Prof says, tribe is not strong enough to get in the way of love. And here on the Love Matters channel, that's all we talk about, the LOVE word, VE words. And today, Prof is talking about tribalism, love, and marriage. And I think, Prof, moving forward, we ought to sit down again in a different session and discuss the role that parents play in young people's getting married. What's the role of your parents? Why is it important that you listen to your parents when you're choosing your life partner? That's right. All we had for today. Please make sure you leave your comment on what you think about tribal issues in marriage and in love in the country. Do you think the tribe is still a problem in love and marriage, or do you agree with Prof that it's just not strong enough to waver or to shake the foundation of love and marriage? Until next time, my name is Kimathi. Let's talk some love.